With the 2025-2026 NFL season coming to an end, we're going to start looking forward to this next free agency market where we're going to see some standout players move on to some new teams. Now, today, I've got some standout players, market movers, as well as some sleepers that are pending free agents this upcoming season. My name is PJ. This is Fourth and Everything. Let's talk some ball. Now, whenever I was writing this video, George Pickens was an upcoming free agent this next season, but the news came out just recently that the Cowboys and Jerry Jones plan on franchise tagging him for this upcoming season. Before that franchise tag announcement, I had his landing spots as either the Cowboys, Titans, or Raiders, but now I expect him to stay with the Cowboys. Regardless, I still want to talk about what he did this last season and how he could be a wide receiver one anywhere in the league. We really saw George Pickens come into his own in week 4 whenever CeeDee Lamb rolled his ankle against the Green Bay Packers. In that game, George Pickens had 8 receptions for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's whenever we saw GP3 really come into his own as a player, and we saw his wide receiver one upside. What? It's okay. It's okay. I thank God every day for saving George Pickens. And then we can thank Jerry Jones after. George Pickens had an outstanding 2025 season. 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns, 15.4 yards of reception. He acquired 137 targets and 84.1 receiving yards a game. He also had 2.35 yards per route run. The league average is between 1.4 and 1.5. That's elite. Now, this is a guy who really got saved by this Dallas Cowboys franchise this last year. He was in Pittsburgh for a couple seasons, and let me just read you off these quarterbacks that he had. Kenny Pickett, Mitchell Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. That's 5 quarterbacks in 2 years. That's tough for a rookie, and that's tough for a second-year wide receiver. He made some great, spectacular catches, and he had some great games in Pittsburgh, but I think he fits really, really well in this Dallas Cowboys offense. And he's going to make a great 1A and 1B with CeeDee Lamb if Jerry Jones decides to pay the guy. Now, before the news came out that the Cowboys plan on franchise tagging Pickens, I had his landing spots as either coming back to Dallas, going to the Titans to be a wide receiver one for Cam Ward, or to the Raiders to help out Fernando Mendoza and have more weapons besides Brock Bowers. But I think he fits right into this Cowboys offense. And as a Dallas native, I want him to stay there as well. I think he fits right in next to CeeDee Lamb on the outside. If he doesn't stick around in Dallas, he's going to get paid maybe a max contract elsewhere. And this guy deserves every single penny. The next wide receiver I'm going to talk about today is a guy who I think is really slept on and someone who has a lot of untapped potential. This white guy got some motion. Alec Pierce was a second-round draft pick out of Cincinnati, and he's known for being a vertical threat in this Colts offense. I really think Alec Pierce has wide receiver one upside. We really saw an uptick in targets this last season where he had 47 receptions for over 1,000 yards, which is a career high, on 84 targets, and he had 21.3 yards of reception. And he also got a bunch of downfield targets. That's what you want in a wide receiver one. And a big reason why I say that Alec Pierce has a bunch of untapped potential, listen to QBs who have thrown him a pass. Matt Ryan, Sam Ellinger, Gardner Minshew, Anthony Richardson, Joe Flacco, Daniel Jones, Riley Leonard, Phillip Rivers. Guys, he was drafted in 2022. That's 8 quarterbacks. That's not easy for any wide receiver. And for him to put up that kind of production, that's something to look forward to. Now, Alec Pierce's route tree has been a lot of fades, posts, corners, choice routes that really just go over the safeties, but I think he has the ability to expand his route tree this upcoming season and acquire more targets. This is a guy who's not going to break the bank if you're trying to pay players. He's a guy who you can get that's affordable, that scores touchdowns, and that has room to grow. He's very productive, very young, and someone who can make your team better. The last wide receiver on my list for today is Jawan Jennings on the 49ers. Now, this guy was a 7th-round draft pick in the 2021 draft. He's an older prospect. He's 28 years old, but he's got great hands and catches touchdowns. I mean, all this dude does is catch touchdowns. He's not a world-class athlete by any stretch of the imagination. He's someone that you can stick on the outside, someone who's going to run efficient routes and catch some touchdowns. We really saw Jauan Jennings come along whenever Brandon Ayuk tore his ACL in the 2024 season. That year, he recorded 77 receptions for 975 yards and 6 touchdowns. The next year in 2025, which was this last season, he recorded 55 receptions for 643 yards and 9 touchdowns. I mean, this guy's been productive whenever his number's called. That's someone who I want on my team. And I think this is a guy who won't cost a lot of money for a franchise who's looking for a good budget wide receiver option that's also dependable. Whenever it comes to potential landing spots for Jauan Jennings, I could for sure see him going to the Tennessee Titans, with Robert Saleh becoming their head coach, who was the defensive coordinator of the 49ers this last year. The Titans need offensive weapons, and Cam Ward needs some guys to throw to outside of Alec Pierce. I could also see him going to the Dolphins. That entire franchise is trying to revamp. They're trying to replenish that offense, get some new weapons. And the Dolphins' new offensive coordinator, Bobby Slowick, was on the 49ers staff from 2017 to 2022, and he helped draft Jauan Jennings. And lastly, I could also see him re-sign with the 49ers. We saw George Kittle go down with a torn Achilles late in the season. Ricky Pearsall has not been what they thought he would be. Brandon Ayuk is not going to be on the 49ers this next year with all of that drama. And Brock Purdy's not going to have any weapons to throw to, so I could see Jennings forcing his hand. He's a guy you could add to any of these rosters and see an immediate influx in production. Now, we can't talk about this free agent class without talking about Breece Hall. Breece Hall is an elite talent that we just saw in a very, very bad franchise. 24 years old. He's explosive. He's very productive in the run game, very productive in the pass game. He can do it all. In 2025, he had 243 carries, just over 1,000 yards. He averaged 4.4 yards a carry, 4 touchdowns, but he had 12 explosive runs of 20 yards or more. He averaged about 15 carries a game, but he was top 10 in yards per carry despite inconsistent offensive line play. He's a guy who recorded 36 receptions for 350 yards and a touchdown this season. He's a guy who can easily get 5-6 targets out of the backfield a game, 35, 45 receiving yards a game. Breece Hall is a player with a competent offense. His floor could be 1,500 yards a season from scrimmage. Now, Hall is a guy who I expected to get traded this past trade deadline mid-season, but Woody Johnson and the Jets decided to, for some reason, not trade him. Now this has the whole NFL community up in arms, wondering if Breece Hall is going to get traded, if he's going to get traded to the Chiefs, if he's going to get traded to the Vikings, if he's going to stay in with the Jets organization. No one knows. Woody Johnson, I'm praying, please let this guy walk. Please let this guy walk. He cannot be in your poverty organization. Please, I'm begging you. Now I could see Breece Hall signing with the Chiefs if they want to pay up for a running back, and for some reason, if they don't draft Jeremiah Love. I could also see him going to the Vikings. Aaron Jones is 31 years old. Jordan Mason is really a power back. He's not a 3-down back by any means. So that's someone who can make an immediate impact there. But God, please, Woody Johnson, do not re-sign Breece Hall. For the love of everything, do not re-sign him. He will be better elsewhere. He's a guy who is so fun to watch and is not fun to watch in New York. Just let him go. Just let him go. It'll save you money. You have draft picks. Just let him walk. Thank you. This next player I'm going to talk about is someone who I think is the most slept on running back in this entire class. He's played behind the best back in the entire league the past 3 years. Someone who's never fumbled the ball once in his NFL career. Someone who rushed for over 1,000 yards from scrimmage his rookie year. Someone who this past season had 143 carries, 514 rushing yards, and 8 touchdowns. He also recorded 14 receptions for 96 yards. This guy is Tyler Algier. Now, this is a guy who's not going to require a huge contract. Maybe 2 to 3 years, a couple $1 million a year. He's not going to break the bank if you're a franchise. I think he's a great budget value, and I think he's a guy who can record bell cow volume and be very efficient in the run game. 1,035 yards, almost 5 yards a carry. I think he could be a great addition to this Chiefs offense if they don't get either Breece Hall or Jeremiah Love. I think he's also someone who could land at the Vikings as well. If you feed him the ball 12 to 15 times a game, he could be a great weapon for any offense in this league. If I was an NFL GM and I was balling on a budget, I'd go out and get Tyler Algier and stick him in my backfield. The last running back I'm going to talk about today is Rachaad White out of Tampa Bay. Rachaad White, 27 years old, out of Tampa Bay. He was drafted in 2022 out of Arizona State. In the past 2 years, he's really been living in Bucky Irving's shadow. He's a very versatile 3-down back. 3 out of the last 4 seasons, he's had at least 1,000 yards from scrimmage. In 2025, he had 132 carries for 572 rush yards, 4.3 yards a carry, and 4 touchdowns. He's a guy who could catch balls out of the backfield. He had 40 receptions for 218 yards. I think White's ceiling is something that we saw in the 2023 season where he was averaging 16 carries a game. He was averaging about 58 rush yards a game, 3.8 receptions a game. But he finished that season with over 1,500 total yards and 9 touchdowns. I think that's something he could bring to a new offense this year if they just utilize his talents and feed him the ball. Now, some landing spots for Rachaad White. I do not see him going back to Tampa Bay. I think Bucky Irving's going to take over the reins there full time. But I could see him going to the Cowboys if they don't end up re-signing Javonte Williams. I could also see him going to the Cardinals in this Michael LaFleur West Coast offense. Trey Benson's had some injuries, and also James Conner's like 31 years old and just blew out his knee this last season. So I think they're going to start moving away from those guys. He can maybe be a 1A, 1B with Trey Benson, but I could also see him being a veteran back that gets the majority of the volume in the Cardinals offense. I think if we see Rachaad White return to anything remotely close to what he did in the 2023 season, he can add a lot of volume to any offense he goes to. This will be fun. Kyle Pitts. Special player, the unicorn. Man, this guy is fun. We had a Kyle Pitts year this last season. 88 receptions, career high, 928 yards, almost a career high, but he had 5 touchdowns. That's a career high. He had 10.5 yards of reception. He had 118 targets. That's a career high. 54.6 yards per game. His ceiling is literally the greatest tight end ever. I know I'm messing around a little bit, but I think Kyle Pitts has so much upside. We saw him on December 11th, 2025, put up the greatest tight end game we've ever seen in the history of football. 11 receptions for 166 yards and 3 touchdowns. Guys, this is Kyle Pitts. This is what he does. I mean, this guy is on track to be the GOAT. He's on track to be the greatest of all time. His rookie year, 1 touchdown. Sophomore year, 2 touchdowns. Third year, 3 touchdowns. Fourth year, 4 touchdowns. Fifth year, 5 touchdowns. Kyle Pitts going into his new contract, 6 touchdown season pending. I don't know. Could be. Pro Bowl Kyle Pitts is back though. Kyle Pitts, for real though, he has the biggest upside out of almost any tight end in the league, next to maybe Brock Bowers. 6'6", 250 pounds, and runs a 4.4. I've heard enough. That's what I want in my tight end. Another fun fact. Kyle Pitts has as many Pro Bowls as Shedeur Sanders. GOAT. On a real note, though, Kevin Stefanski is the next head coach of the Falcons. I expect him to re-sign Kyle Pitts and use him a lot more than they have the past 4 years. Pair him with Drake London in the pass game, Bijan Robinson in the pass game, and in the run game. This Falcons offense is going to be a lot better if they re-sign Kyle Pitts. Honestly, I don't see him going anywhere else. There are some rumors that he was going to go to the Chiefs. Rumors surfacing that Travis Kelce is going to come back for another year in Kansas City, so I don't expect him to go there. The 2026 season is the year of Kyle Pitts. 6 touchdowns at least. Mark it. The next tight end I'm going to be talking about is David Njoku on the Browns. Now, he's coming off of a poor 2025 season where he missed 5 games and his snap count went down due to Harold Fannin just absolutely going off his rookie year. He recorded 33 receptions for 293 yards and 4 touchdowns. David Njoku is a tight end who has a really high upside. In 2023, he finished top 5 in targets, receptions, and touchdowns among tight ends. He had 123 targets, 81 receptions, 882 yards, and 6 touchdowns. I expect Njoku to be a high-end tight end this next season if healthy, and I expect him to break out like he did in this 2023 season if the right offense utilizes him well. Now, some potential landing spots for David Njoku. I don't really see him going to Atlanta to reunite with Kevin Stefanski because, like I said earlier, I think they'll re-sign Kyle Pitts. I could see him going to the Broncos because they didn't see much production out of Evan Ingram this past season, and Bo Nix could use another weapon. I could also see him going to the Dolphins with either Tua needing another weapon, or if they were to bring in a free agency QB, I could see David Njoku fitting right into that Bobby Slowick offense. Now, my most slept on tight end target for this free agency class is Isaiah Likely. He's only 25 years old. He's 6'4", 245 pounds. This last season, he only recorded 27 receptions for 307 yards, but he has been living in Mark Andrews' shadow the past few years. The Ravens offense had a massive down year in general and a lot of offensive inconsistency. But in the past, whenever Isaiah Likely got a large snap share, we saw a lot of production from him. Now, Mark Andrews did just sign a 3-year extension through the 2028 season, so I don't expect Isaiah Likely to re-sign this next year. So I think he's a premium tight end target for any team that's looking to fill in their tight end role. He caught a total of 15 touchdowns in his career in Baltimore, which is really impressive considering him playing behind Mark Andrews. We really saw Likely come along in 2023 whenever Mark Andrews went down with a broken ankle in week 11. Look at the sample size of Isaiah Likely in the 2023 season whenever he was utilized as a tight end 1. In all of these games, he had over an 80% snap share or more outside of week 18. In week 12, the week after Mark Andrews went down with an ankle injury, 5 receptions, 83 yards, touchdown. Bye week, 5 receptions, 83 yards, touchdown. 5 receptions, 70 yards, touchdown. 3 receptions, 56 yards. 3 receptions, 42 yards, 2 touchdowns. 2 receptions, 31 yards, touchdown. 2 receptions, 34 yards, touchdown. It's clear that Isaiah Likely can be a tight end 1 elsewhere and also be very productive in whatever offense he's in. Some potential landing spots for Isaiah Likely, I could see him going to the Giants with the John Harbaugh hire. He's familiar with John Harbaugh in his culture. He can help establish John Harbaugh's culture in New York. I know they have a rising star in Theo Johnson, but with coaching changes can come with player changes as well. So we shall see about that. With Zach Ertz coming off of a season-ending injury and being 34 years old, I expect him to retire, if not be close to retiring. And I could see Isaiah Likely stepping into this Washington offense and being a top target for Jaden Daniels. And I could see the Dolphins as well trying to get young and bringing Isaiah Likely as their top tight end target. I think he'd be a great addition to that Bobby Slowick offense. He's athletic, he catches touchdowns, and he's a playmaker. This free agency cycle isn't very QB heavy, but there's one guy I'm really excited about, and that's Malik Willis. Willis is a dual threat QB with explosive traits. He runs a 4.4, and I could see him being a huge project, but this guy has so much upside. He was a 3rd-round pick by the Titans in 2022 out of Liberty. Right before the 2024 season in August, we saw Malik Willis get traded to the Green Bay Packers. I believe it was in week 2, Jordan Love went down with an injury. Malik Willis was 2 weeks out of being traded from Tennessee. Came in, started weeks 2 and 3. He threw for over 324 yards, 2 touchdowns, and had 114 rushing yards in a brand new offense. He proceeded to then back up Jordan Love that whole following season. And then in 2025, Jordan Love went down with another injury, and Malik Willis absolutely balled out. And the 2 regular season starts that he had this past season, he threw for over 400 yards, 2 touchdowns, rushed for another 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's shown that he's grown into an NFL quarterback the last 2 years under Mike LaFleur. In the 2022 and the 2023 season with the Titans, he had 0 passing touchdowns, only 1 rushing touchdown, and 3 interceptions. Since then with Green Bay, he's had 0 interceptions in 4 starts. He's had 6 passing touchdowns and 4 rushing touchdowns. This is a quarterback that a team can take on as a project, but I think he's ready to start this next year. I think a team that's going to target Malik Willis heavily is the Miami Dolphins. It sounds like they want to move away from Tua and just completely revamp this Miami offense, and I think Malik Willis will be a great addition and someone who has a ton of upside. The Dolphins just hired former Packers DC Jeff Hafley, who was the defensive coordinator for the Packers whenever Malik Willis got there in 2024 through the 2025-2026 season. So there's that connection there. So I could see him bringing on Malik Willis to run this Bobby Slowick offense this next year. I mean, could you imagine Devon Achane and Malik Willis in this offense, in the same backfield, that'll be fun to watch. Now, if the Dolphins decide to stick with Tua, I don't think they should, and not go with Malik Willis, I could see Matt LaFleur's brother, Mike LaFleur, in Arizona, the new head coach for the Cardinals, take on Malik Willis as their new quarterback. That would bring some excitement to this Arizona offense as well. I know Malik Willis is a huge question mark considering he's only started 4 games in the last 2 years, but if I'm a franchise owner, he's a question mark I'm willing to bet on. March 9th cannot come soon enough. I'm excited to see where these guys land, all these sleepers. I'm excited to see what their production's going to look like. And I'm excited to see these stars get paid. They deserve it. My name is PJ. This is Fourth and Everything. Come hang out next time where we talk some ball. I will see you guys later.